yes, it was important. They asked, how often do you pray? Every day. How much time every day? 5 minutes. Do you find prayer satisfying? Not really. Well, if prayer does not rank high in the satisfaction level, I'm wondering why 9 out of 10 people pray. Why do we pray? Do we believe that it's like a department store that we go to when we want this, and this? Or is it like a hospital that we go to when we're hurting here, and here? Or is it like a therapist that we go to when we're in some kind of trouble? What is prayer? Is prayer that place where humanity, you, me, can connect with God? If that's so, why is it not satisfying? A number of us gathered together through the month of June to study what we read in 1 Chronicles today. And we spent almost 8 hours on 2 verses. And you heard that right. It's actually 1 sentence with 4 parts. And it's this. If you could just move forward for a second. It says this: oh, that you would bless me and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me and keep me from harm, so that I will be free from pain. 1 Chronicles is that list of genealogy. Now, I'm sure when Joe saw that it was 1 Chronicles he was reading, well, you did prayer of Jabez, so you knew where it was going. But someone else who didn't do that would just think, oh my goodness, I've got to read all those names. It's chapter after chapter of names that you cannot pronounce. And if any of you cannot sleep one night, open up 1 Chronicles, and that'll do it for you, I promise you. There is something about Jabez that the author of 1 Chronicles in the genealogy is saying, this one begat this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. 44 names in this chapter alone, and all of a sudden it gets to Jabez, and it's like, oh, but wait, now there's Jabez. And Jabez was born from a woman who named him Jabez. And he prayed this prayer every day, and God blessed him. And then it continues with the genealogy. What about this? That we have to stop for a minute to say, whoa, what is this all about? Now, he doesn't stand out like Moses or Abraham. He makes just a little difference in his life, in his corner of the world. But he made all the difference in his corner of the world. Right now, our church is in the time of transition. And likely all of you somewhere in your life is in a place of transition as well. And we've got to stop and focus on prayer. Last week I talked about God not being just out there in heaven, not being just in creation around us, but actually being in our lives, in our being, in our spirit, in our soul. The place where God is that we can take, no matter where we go, we cannot leave God behind because God is in us. This tiny little prayer is we're saying that the Spirit that's in us is going to pray all the time. Jabez knows from experience that this prayer works. When's the last time that you knew without a doubt that God was working through you? Have you allowed yourself to be fully and completely open to whatever God's will is? Or is that frightening you? to be that vulnerable, that open, that exposed, even to your loving Creator. Have you ever desired for your life to be more honorable for God? Have you ever wanted just your life to mean more? If any of that resonates with you, today's message is for you. Let me tell you a little bit that we know about Jabez. He lived in southern Israel at the time of the conquest of Canaan, and it was during the time of Judges, and it was a horrifically violent time. He was born in Judea, to the tribe of Judea, and he eventually became a notable chief, a head of that clan. And his story begins with his name. Now remember his name. Names in that time meant it described who you were. It described your character, it described your family. Jabez, the word Jabez in Hebrew, means to cause pain. Can you imagine your mother saddling you with that name? I mean, some of the names that we give our children, we think, what are they thinking? But to name them with knowing that that is who their character is, that's what they're about, is to cause pain. Now, I don't know if it was the pregnancy that was full of pain, the delivery, or the time of her life, how she became pregnant. I don't know. But something around Jabez's birth and birthing caused pain. Jabez heard about miracles, and he decided that he's going to be one. And so he started to pray. The very first line, God bless me indeed. And blessing has nothing to do about sneezing. It's much more. It's about God just pouring out gifts to you abundantly. Amazing gifts to bless you. It is asking for spiritual, supernatural power to be given to your life. And we're not asking God for something that you can do yourself, because you can do that yourself. You are asking for something more. You're asking for miracles in your life. And this is the key. If you want this, you have to ask for it. There's this wonderful children's story, and I'm not sure if I told you this before, but it's this wonderful children's story. And it's about Johnny who goes to heaven. Little Johnny goes to heaven, and he's getting the orientation tour of heaven, and they're passing this massive building, and Johnny says, well, how come we're not going in there? And the guide says, oh, you don't want to see what's in there. And little Johnny says, yes, I do. And so he says, all right, but you're not going to like it. That's where the blessings are that were not given out. And he says, oh, what do you mean? He says, do I have blessings in there that I never received on earth? And he goes, yeah. So he says, I want to see them. And so the guy just shakes his head, and in goes little Johnny. He finds this massive box. He opens it up and he looks in, and there's this big sigh, and he goes, oh, all what I had to do was ask. And that's the catch. We forget that we have to ask. Prayer is not about telling God what we need. It's not about saying, okay, God, I need this is how I want to get it, this way, this is the way you're going to give it to me, this way. How often are our prayers so often like that? Yeah, me too. You know, it's like for our children, oh, please pray that they do this and this and this. Instead of asking God to take care of them and to lead them on their journey. As if I know more than what's best for them than God, right? Are you willing to ask? What might that mean in your life? What would stop you from asking? Does that frighten you, or does it excite you that if you ask for blessings, you're going to receive them? Is that frightening or is that exciting? I'm wondering what some of the fear is that we're going to get what we ask for. Right now, Chesterville and Morewood has just starting this brand new beginning of a new ministry, this regional ministry. And I'm wondering what it would look like if we really start praying and go, bless me indeed and enlarge my territory. Enlarge my territory. Not just Chesterville and Morewood, but let's just say enlarge my territory. Heck, let's bring in all of Dundas. Why not? Imagine what we can do with more numbers and more energy and more excitement and more vision when everybody's together. We can begin our own Operation Jabez right here in this county. Why not? What we're asking for is more ministry. Heaven help us. That's what we're asking for, is more work. But we're asking for more work to bring God blessings, to bring God glory. Now this isn't pie in the sky stuff. This is God entering our life, entering our being, entering our worship, entering our community, and using us to make a difference. In this little book, Prayer Jabez, there's this wonderful equation of math, and it says what we think is, it's our abilities plus our experience plus our training plus our personality plus our past plus our expectations of others equals our assigned territory. Right? What Jabez is saying is something different. It's my willingness and my weakness plus God's will and God's supernatural power equals my expanding territory. God works through ordinary people like you and me, so you know what? Why not you and me? Why not then you and me? Right here in this community. Do you believe in miracles? I believe in miracles. And when God's hand is upon us, miracles happen all the time. You remember, if we're taking little steps, we don't need God. Right? We can do it on our own. We can do that all by ourselves. What we're asking for is to do something that we cannot do by ourselves. That we want God's hand upon us. What we're actually asking for is failure if we do it on our own. How scary is that? But we're asking for God to bless us, to enlarge our territory, and that is why we need God's hand upon us, because we cannot do it alone. And I get my blessing. My territory starts to enlarge, and then the wind goes out of my sail. I start to get frightened. The energy stops. The obstacles start coming in my way, and I get outside my comfort zone, and I stop. How often does that happen? It's because we forget that God's hand is upon us. How does it make you feel to hear that we are attempting something that is so big that failure is guaranteed unless God steps in? How many of you are willing to take that leap? That's scary, isn't it? And yet that is what we are asked to do.